not give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. How are y'all doing? Happy Friday. Today, I want to talk about SB4. Have you heard about what's going on in Texas, the new law that's going to take effect in March 2024? Well, you got to know this. So watch this show. We're going to talk about it. If you have any questions about it, let me know. It's still, of course, very new. It's a hot topic. It's a ridiculous topic to even discuss. But for those in Texas or in other states like Florida, you definitely, you probably know what's going on. It's Republican states, unfortunately, are trying to attack or really immigrant rights at every possible angle. Okay, and this is nothing new. This happened in Arizona, and that got struck down by Supreme Court. So anyway, I'll go into my thoughts about it even more if you can't tell already what I think about it. Friends, welcome to greencardguys.tv. I'm your host, John Ting. I practice immigration law in all 50 states of America and across the world, helping you solve your immigration problem and maybe preventing the problem from happening in the first place. Okay, because maybe you haven't even filed your case, or you filed your case, or you have, but then you haven't gone all the way to the interview. So you have a chance to make it better, improve it. So because you've already probably spent a lot of money on the case in general. So, a lot of people call us saying they got denied, right? So let's try to avoid that. Let's get you approved, okay? All right, so if you have any questions in general, you're welcome to drop it in the chat box down below. In the meantime, of course, if you are not a follower yet, you're welcome to subscribe down below on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on TikTok. You know what to do. Go up there or down here. I think it pops up down below. All right. So, and I always welcome, some of y'all like to share your experience with other folks watching. So welcome to do that. I always encourage it. Don't shy away from that. Okay. And I just pray to the Lord that the connection is going to be good on TikTok today. So thanks. If you were here yesterday, I had a little disruption, even though the internet was fine in general. So, okay. So if you don't know what's going on in Texas, they just passed something called SB4. Okay. And if you don't know about Texas government, it's very ridiculous. It's majority controlled by Republicans, unfortunately, for better or worse. Okay, some of y'all Republicans, to each your own. But unfortunately, there is very drastic measure against immigrants, and it's going to, here's my thought now, it's going to have officers, law enforcement, racially or ethnically profile people. Okay, so generally speaking, maybe people in general don't associate dark-skinned people as immigrants, but they may associate, most likely, if I had just go by society, what society thinks, that a little darker, but maybe more like brown-skinned folks are going to be profiled, right? And even if the Republicans say, oh, we just meant for people to be targeted near the border. But really, but this is Texas law. So really, this is a requirement that police officers, law enforcement do this all across the state, right? It's not just along the border. So this is a ridiculous law, okay? And even the penalty, the jail punishment is different depending on excuse me, depending on if someone has crossed into the United States before. So let me share my screen right here. I think if y'all on Instagram, let me know if you can see it clearly here. I don't know if it's working. Okay, there we go. Now I clicked the right button. Okay, well, let me show my screen because I use StreamYard and they finally allowed Instagram to be synced up. So okay, here we go. All right, so you should be able to see here. I will definitely answer your questions. Thanks for commenting below. I'll definitely get to them. I just want to share right here. Okay, there we go. So here it says that under SB4 law, which is not in effect yet, it's going to happen in March 2024. So pretty soon, in 3 months. Anyone who's crossed into Texas illegally from Mexico would be charged with a misdemeanor, treated, right, like it was a good thing, charged with a misdemeanor crime, okay, and punishable by up to 180 days in jail and a fine of up to $2,000. Now, if it's illegal re-entry into Texas, it would be a felony offense with up to 2 to 10 or 20 years in jail, depending on whether the migrant in question had been previously deported or convicted of certain crimes. Okay, so SB4 does include a provision that bars state officials from arresting migrants in certain locations, including schools, places of worship, and healthcare facilities. Thank God. I guess not the movie theater. Or, you know what? Daycare facilities. That'd be interesting. That's not on here. I wonder if that's included in schools. It's just ridiculous. They're just creating a situation where people who have no status have to hide, right? It's ridiculous. And you might ask, well, what do I think? What does John think is going to happen, right? And I do think if the Supreme Court, now keep in mind, the Supreme Court is the makeup, the people, the judges are different than the years before when the Arizona, I think it was called, can't recall exactly the bill number, 1080 or something, 1060, but that was what, well, this is going to garner some interesting comments. So anyway, that the makeup of the Supreme Court is different. So we'll see what happens. I suspect that this will go all the way to Supreme Court much more quickly than other cases. Okay. And Greg on TikTok asked, "What part of illegal do you people not understand?" So clearly, I appreciate that comment. We welcome all different types of opinions or perspectives here because I'm always happy to share my opinion, all right? Because it's my channel. So if you don't understand the consequences of this law, then please continue watching and listening. My perspective here is essentially going to create de facto immigration orders, okay, deportation orders. The law enforcement officials of any state should not act as immigration officials. Sure, should ICE, immigration, custom enforcement have more people working in that facility? There's a reason why there's something called prosecutorial discretion. For one thing, I would like to think it's because some people actually should qualify for it, depending on the effects of their situation. But the other part is they have to prioritize some certain people, right? So one of their current priorities, as always, one of three, are people who recently entered the United States since I think they said November 2020, 2021, and 2020 it should be, and also people that have criminal history or what they call serious crimes. Now, so how can someone tell? How can a law enforcement officer tell if a person who is in, let's say, Dallas or Houston illegally, well, maybe I shouldn't put in quotations, illegally or enter the United States without a visa? So the first question they have to ask is, hey, buddy, do you have paperwork, legal entry? You have a visa, parole? They don't know all these questions to ask, right? And then are they going to ask every single person at a bar, at a grocery store? At what point are they going to do that, right? So, or what kind of location are they going to start asking people? So if an officer is just getting groceries himself or herself, they're going to start asking, oh, should I ask that person if they got papers? This is ridiculous, okay? This should not be happening. If anyone, it should be ICE officers, first of all, okay? Federal immigration officers. This is going to create constitutional claims for the Equal Protection Act, okay, under the Fourth Amendment and the 14th Amendment. All right. So I remember in law school, I helped out in cases where people were asked similar type questions in Buffalo, New York, because I was near the border, right? And so they were asked by not by local police officers, they were asked by border officials. So in that situation, even though it was ridiculous, crummy, they shouldn't have done it, but it was at least still immigration officials, Custom and Border Protection officers. Now I get it. I get it. What the conservatives was trying to say, that that there's just not enough border patrol officers, right? I totally get that. That is a different issue. But Texas should not be getting involved. So I suspect this is going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court, and likely we'll have some kind of decision by March before the effective date. Okay, so stay tuned. We're going to keep talking about it and bring it up. There's so much to say about this, but I'll keep it at that and start answering some questions. So thanks for your patience. All right, so let's see. To Bro SGLA on TikTok, you're afraid to file VAWA. So the one thing you should know to hopefully provide some allay any kind of concern about your spouse or another family member who may have abused you or threatened you to any extent, is that they will not be notified about it, right? Especially people ask that kind of question when, oh, will my spouse or my family member who abused me or threatened me know that I filed VAWA? They will not, as long as, of course, you provide a different address. And so some people ask that question, especially when someone who, petitioner has already been filed by the spouse, right? So they wonder if it's somehow connected. It's not. Fortunately, USCIS has their shit together on that kind of situation. So that's why you can self-petition. That's essentially what they mean. Self-petition. You don't need a sponsor on that. Okay, hopefully it helps out. You've been in the USA for 27 years and no status. So yeah, give us a chat about that if you think you could qualify. Maybe even if you don't think you qualify. Our team's happy to chat with you. And when you call in or answer the form, it's going to be, the first meeting is going to be with a CARES team specialist. They're not lawyers, but they're trained to understand terminology, understand the different pathways. Okay, so they'll get you started. Okay. Hey, Tony, what's up? Good to see you on YouTube. As ready as can be for Christmas, for sure. Yeah, thank you so much, and have a Merry Christmas to you, Tony, and your family. Appreciate it. Can you travel with a 512 parole as long as it's not expired and as long as you don't have any arrest? Okay. And some people might think, oh, well, I got arrested for like stealing a candy bar. Well, it's a theft crime, and that's a crime of moral turpitude. So you really need to speak with a immigration attorney about that. But with the safe assumption that you don't have any crimes, no arrest, then yes, you can travel with the unexpired advance parole document. All right. Hey, what's up, Karen? On YouTube, do I think tipping your landlord increases your chance of getting a green card? I don't know what a landlord has to do with that. I don't think you should do that for that reason. Let me know. Follow up on that comment, okay? Let's see. Congrats to Beba on TikTok. This person's 45 was approved yesterday and no interview. Wonderful. Wonderful. I look tired. It could be the angle. But yeah, I don't get much sleep with kids. So no interview then. Expect the resident status card come in the mail. Okay. Some people call it green card. But it's not green anymore. So anyways, that should be in the next 3 to 5 weeks. Now, keep in mind, Beba, that some people do not get the actual card that quickly. So if it's been more than a couple months, and that I would be concerned, make sure you have the same address, right? Especially if you don't have an interview, you may have moved and didn't think it was going to happen as quickly as it did, or you may not have thought like you were going to have the interview waived, make sure USCIS has your correct address. Oh, that's messed up, dude. Anyways. So that dude's blocked. Dude, we don't have time for people to make fun of people about the way we look. They're like, that's not cool, man. So I just blocked that person and just said, I look tired, and that's because I'm Asian. So, yeah, you're out, dude. Like, obviously, you don't care about immigration. You just popped up in the feed. All right, let's move on. This is a good time to mention, especially during the holidays, some people could be a little chippy. Yeah, we just want to move forward and just be as positive as possible. For me, I don't even have the Facebook app on my phone, but especially during pandemic, people really started to get a little chippy, especially all this pandemic talk. So I had to step aside. All right, Mohammed, if you applied through USCIS, can you go back to court? I think you mean like I think we're trying to say or ask is in case your application is denied, will you have to go back to court? It depends on the scenario. A good amount of times. I mean, a good amount of times when I've heard is that, I mean, most of the time people are not going to be referred back to court, but it depends on the type of situation, right? If USCIS writes in a denial letter finding of marriage fraud or circumventing immigration law because of to get legal status, then out of anyone, you're most likely going to get referred to immigration court, right? Or if somehow USCIS finds out you have a criminal history that you especially not is still inadmissible and you don't have a waiver and you get denied, you're most likely going to be referred to immigration court. But those are some examples. I don't have all of them, of course. Hey, folks on Instagram, let me know. Can you comment here? Because on my screen, it's still stuck on my intro video, so I can't tell if it's working on Instagram because I have it synced up to StreamYard. Let me see if I can comment. I don't know if you can hear me. I think you can. See if this works. Okay, cool. I can actually message. Thank you, letter N. Thanks for listening and following. I really appreciate it. Maria, you had pinned someone. I can't remember where that's at. And then that went away. Okay, cool. Glad to know. Thanks for responding. Because it's just like frozen on my website. So if y'all wondering and you have your own channels, StreamYard just released that is, I guess, like beta version that you can sync it up to Instagram as well. So I'm using StreamYard to sync up to LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. It's nuts how many social media platforms are. But anyway, to sync it up, you have to click the icon, of course, but then also go to the Instagram website and then enter like a code, basically. So if anyone's interested in stuff like that. All right, if you have an asylum pending case and you have a VAWA case also, and you didn't get your permit yet. So, well, how long has your asylum been pending? I believe it has to be, I don't practice asylum law, but I believe it has to be pending either 150 days or 180. I think it's 180 days. So hopefully you at least filed the 765 work permit. That's number one, okay? All right. Is prima facie a good sign? Yeah, it's certainly a good sign. But that doesn't necessarily mean that even if you didn't get one, that doesn't necessarily mean that your case is going to be held up like 3 times as long. But it is helpful to know that as like a milestone for sure. That also does not mean that your case is going to be approved like 6 months, right? Unfortunately, prima facie letter could be a little misleading because it's obviously positive, but these cases do take a long time. Abel asks, can you shorten the immigration court date? Your hearing will be 2024. Okay, so we use a phrase called motion to advance hearing. So that is possible. And I suspect you could be asking this because most people don't ask this question to basically hurry it up, get it expedited for a court hearing. Um, is because Department of Homeland Security attorneys have told us that just in like our ALA meetings and their what they send as a memo to us private attorneys, that they are prioritizing cases that are sooner, like already active. So most of the time we finally get some kind of response, whether agreement to dismiss a case or not, like literally the day before or the day at the hearing. So it kind of defeats the purpose of trying to close out cases to get it off the docket. So we call it docket is basically the list of cases for that day for everyone involved, including a judge. So it would make sense that you get that dismissed before it gets to like the day of the hearing. But whatever, I don't work for Department of Homeland Security to make those kind of decisions. But hopefully that answers your question, Abel. It is possible. And Abel, if you have an attorney, some attorneys, like if like, hey, I really want to speed it, like get it sooner, it could be possible, but usually it's for an individual trial or merits hearing. That's when attorneys can switch court dates, and we ask the clerk and see if it's possible and get both sides agreement, both attorneys. But for a master calendar hearing, it's like a pretrial. I haven't heard of attorneys trying to switch those out. All right, cool. Again, welcome to drop the questions in the chat box section. If I don't answer a question, I apologize. I usually try to speed through, but it's a bit difficult. I don't think I'm losing my voice. I just need to drink more water. But what's it called? If I don't answer it, okay, or don't answer as in depth as you prefer, or I prefer, give us a call, okay, or go to our website, greencardguys.com. All right, greencardguys.com, and click on the contact us page. Okay, this is what it looks. I think. Okay, there we go. So folks on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram should be able to see this. Yeah, you go to contact us, click on option 1, just answer a few questions. And then after you do that, it's going to redirect you to a calendar so you can schedule time to chat with one of our CARES team specialists. So that's a new process, our new workflow. We used to have it differently where there was no calendar link, essentially. So we're really trying to make it easier for y'all. And then even when our CARES team specialists call y'all or have called people, it's like playing phone tag, right? So we want to make sure y'all are able to just get scheduled, and it'll just be easier. All right, so hopefully that works out, the new process. Let's see here. Lucas says some masters are already scheduled for 2028. Yeah, it's just, I mean, some people, obviously one data point is like, yeah, there's a lot of court cases. And in fact, during President Trump's administration, they forced judges to have court trials, 2 of them. Really, they try to have 4. Okay, 4 in one day. Like just one trial for myself is like enough. But for a judge to have 2 to 4 in one day is ridiculous. So what that means is like 8:30 is one hearing. I don't know what they do. Like 10:30 is another one, and so it's not right, right? And then after that, the afternoon is 1 o'clock, and they might even judge might have 5 minutes to eat. It's just not conducive. It's a really bad working environment. Actually, no one's actually talked about it that way, but a really horrible working environment for anyone. Doesn't matter professional or not. And then 1 o'clock, then like 3 o'clock. So literally, a judge will be there, at least in the interpreter and court staff, 8:30 to 5, right? So 4 trials. That was what's going on for a bit of time with President Trump's administration. So I can understand why they were trying to have more trials, because like cases all the way till 2028. But really, the best answer is to hire more judges. So they've definitely been doing that, fortunately. And with diverse backgrounds, fortunately. Um, but yeah, just want to share that context. But yeah, usually even master calendar hearings, like pre-trial, they're usually really packed, maybe like 10 to 15 people, a lot of people. It's it's incredible. It's very unfortunate to see what's going on, especially for the reasons people need to migrate. Of course, let's see here. So overflow and Antonine, I think. When do you send the medical? How long will it take that they receive it? Well, so if you haven't sent the medical exam yet and you already filed your general initial package, then expect an RFE, request for evidence. Before it used to be a courtesy RFE, okay, and meaning it just means, hey, we don't see the medical exam here in a sealed envelope. By the way, don't open the envelope. If you want a copy of it, ask the clinic to give you a separate document. Do not open the envelope, or you have to repay the fee. Anyway, so in a courtesy RFE back a couple of years ago, you would bring it to the interview. But because they're waiving interviews, right? They're trying to be a little bit more efficient. They're doing a better job at it. Then you just mail in the medical exam in the sealed envelope when you get that physical document request for evidence. And hopefully that's all they ask. But if they ask for more documents than that, like more evidence of marriage, and then no, it's not just a marriage certificate, because of course that's number one. You got to provide that. But if they ask for more documents like that, it's less likely that your interview will be waived, but still possible. Okay, just keep that in mind. After fingerprints for 45, how much longer? You still got quite a ways, right? Because fingerprints are usually about, we estimate based on case experience about 1 to 3 months after filing the case in general. 1 to 3 months. 1 month would be just pretty soon, right? But even after that, it just in general, in 2023, right? We're getting down to the wire here. The last week and a half, it'll be about 3 to 5 months in general, okay, from start to finish, if the interview is waived. Now, I had a couple where we had an interview, even when it was between 3 to 4 months. So you just never know. You still might have an interview, so don't be scared. It's going to be okay. At least the way we prepare our clients, we think it's, of course, just fine. But a lot of people say they file their unknown and say, oh, I'll be fine. But if you haven't even had a lawyer review your case at all, and there's just something that's like, that's just itching at you, like, I think I need to talk to a lawyer, go with your gut, okay? Go with your gut and talk to an immigration lawyer. All right. Anyone on Instagram have any questions? Y'all a bit shy over there, unless it's not coming through. But I did see someone, Wamba, comment earlier. All right, Peter. Peter asks, should I file I-130 A64 when you're filing for your child who's abroad? So when you're filing for a family member abroad, you do not file A64. You only file the I-130, okay? If it's a spouse, then you also file the I-130A. But no, you don't have to file A64, okay, Peter? That's going to be later on. That's at a stage, what we call the second stage, National Visa Center. And sometimes you might think, well, I just feel more comfortable just sending anyway. Well, you don't want to still do that, because they could reject your applications, your package, because they're going to be like, what do I do with this extra form? So and it could happen. I mean, I don't have experience like that because we don't file that. But some people think that, oh yeah, well, I've heard of this, that, and you just file everything, whatever, together, but it's going to create a mess for USCIS. Think of them, at least the mailroom, like a bot. Like if it doesn't fit in a certain situation for them, they're going to mail it back and reject it. So you don't want that to happen. How can I apply? MJ asks, how can I apply to travel domestic flight? Thanks for clarifying that. If you are already married, shoot, I missed that one part. Okay, there we go. But you haven't sent the docs. Okay, so you can travel domestically even if you're overstayed your visa or undocumented in general, domestically right now, until I believe, let me double check this. The Real ID Act, when they make it tougher, folks. Let's see, Real ID Act. Let's see when that becomes effective. I think you got some time. Yeah, May 7th, 2025. I thought it was May 2024. I guess they could have updated it. But by May 7th, 2025, that's when it's going to be very difficult for people to fly because you have to have certain documentation. And then if you don't have certain IDs, then it's going to be hard to travel, right? So hopefully it helps, MJ. Congrats on your marriage. Sounds like it was recent. Alrighty. All right, some of y'all a bit shy today. Plenty of people on, but y'all a bit shy. By the way, if you have spoken to one of our CARES team specialists or one of our attorneys, or even just got value from these live shows, please give us a heart, on Instagram, hit the like button, thumbs up, and tap the screen on TikTok if you appreciate it. It really gives us a little bit more boost on a little more juice to go live every day, Monday through Friday, except not on Christmas. My family's not gonna like that. I'm even lucky to be on right now. How can you create a joint bank account if you don't have SSN? It's for AOS. Okay, great question, Ify. If I pronounce your name correctly, apologize. Yes, most banks require SSN. However, I believe I'm not trying to promote certain banks, but I believe Wells Fargo doesn't require SSN. I don't want to say that out loud, but there are some banks that don't. And I know Wells Fargo is not the only one, but consider them. I know some people are a little hesitant with that bank because of course, news going on with them in the last 5 years at least, creating fake accounts. But maybe just for the purpose of getting y'all started with a joint account, consider that. Okay, I'll have to ask my team again which all banks our clients are able to. Bank of America. Okay, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that's right. I did see some clients have that. Now the other thing is checking. I recommend checking for sure. I mean, I always recommend savings, of course. I have like a auto transfer to my savings account personally, but at least for the purpose of immigration case, checking. And also may also want to the debit card. When you go to the interview, if you have one, take your debit card. Even though I don't even know where mine is, I had one time, I was covering for another lawyer at the interview. One time in my career, an officer asked for the debit card. I was like, holy hell, are you serious right now? Like, why does that even matter? Because the card has different numbers. Like, it wouldn't even indicate it's together joint. So it was dumb. But I think that person was trying to be a little bit more particular because he was training another officer. So, so it is what it is. Fortunately, it worked out for that client, but yeah, you never know. Some questions. So that's what I mean. Like, even if you have an attorney, sometimes the questions could be like out of nowhere, and your attorney tried to prep you as much as you could. But some attorneys don't prep that well. I've heard it. I heard about it, and some people get denied, unfortunately. Tony on YouTube says about the bank account, most banks don't necessarily need SSN, but most important is proof of address. Also, follow-up comment, Chase, B of A, Wells don't require SSN. Passport will suffice. Yeah, that's interesting because I've had some clients say that Chase could not, but then I've had clients obviously have a Chase account. And I assumed that was maybe because they already had SSN from before. Maybe when they were like had H-1B before or student visa and had SSN. But okay, that's good to know. So sometimes when someone tells you no, talk to another cash person at the bank. You never know. Really. Don't give up. I have a story about that. Maybe I'll reserve it for next time. All right, folks. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your trust. I don't think I can answer all the questions right now because I gotta go to another meeting and work on some cases before Christmas. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, today is Friday. Merry Christmas to y'all. And yeah, stay tuned about this SB4 Texas law. We'll keep you updated. So if you want to know more about this or follow tips from us, immigration attorney in Houston, Texas, give us a follow, okay? Right up here, wherever, respective on your platform. And I greatly appreciate it, okay? And of course, have a Merry Christmas. Take care now. Bye-bye.